cruises. You okay or she's? Wonder where she got that from. Got it. I got it.
Yeah, you came perfect time.
I was just gonna say,
All right, wonderful. Good evening, council. Good evening, folks. Thanks for joining us. We have a full house today. Very excited about that. Welcome to the North Pole City Council regular meeting. Today is August 18th, 2025. Clerk Braniff, please call the roll.
Mr. Schuster,
Here.
Mr. Brandt,
Here.
Mr. Keller, Mr. Jacobson,
Here.
Mr. Williams, Mr. Claus, Mayor Church.
Here. Thank you. Let us please stand, remove our hats, and say the pledge, and then we'll follow that up with the invocation. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please bow your head for the invocation.
Lord, we pray for the forward thinking that we will use in this meeting. Anoint us with your spirit as we work towards these concerns. Grant us the ability to learn company with accuracy and passion to our community. Bless our talents and may our worship inspire us to draw nearly to you. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Move to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Move to amend the agenda.
State your amendment, please.
Under new business, move to consent item A, request to council approve Shannon Wilson 8th Avenue Firewall Pump House contract 30,000. New business B, request to council tuition reimbursement of $1,500 for Chief Smith. And new business item 12D, request to council Santa Claus House move to quarterly sales for all of their DVAs as listed in the memo from Santa Claus House.
I would like to second that amendment. Any discussion? Any other changes? Clerk Braniff, please call the roll on those.
On the agenda as amended, Mr. Jacobson, Mr. Williams, Mr. Schuster,
yes.
Mr. Keller,
Yes.
Mr. Claus, Mr. Brandt, and Mayor Church.
Yes.
On the amended or in the agenda for this evening, Mr. Claus,
Yes.
Mr. Keller,
Yes.
Mr. Jacobson,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Brandt,
Yes.
Mr. Schuster,
Yes.
Mayor Church.
Yes.
And those both passed with 7 yeses.
Okay, that brings us on to item 5, approval of the minutes from August 4th. Don't believe that. Is that the correct date? August 4th?
August 4th meeting, yes.
Okay, August 4th, council meeting. I'd like to move to approve those minutes.
I'll second.
Any discussion or changes? Okay, seeing none.
On the minutes from the August 4th meeting, Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Claus,
Yes.
Mr. Brandt, Mr. Keller, Mr. Jacobson, Mr. Schuster,
Yes.
Mayor Church.
Yes.
And that passed with 7 yeses.
Thank you. That brings us on to action item 6, communications from the mayor. And I would like to start this evening with asking Mr. Illingsworth to come forth. And Chief, would you like to present the award? And I will
Yeah.
grab a mic
Thank you, Mayor.
so that we are on the record. Read or present? It's up to you.
Either way.
All right, I'll take the reading part. You can take the presentation.
Okay.
All right. Thank you for being here and thank you for all you do. So you were nominated for this Excellent in Action Award by a teacher at North Pole Elementary School. She reported that the school was very sad to see you leave because you had such a positive impact on all the children, staff, and students. She shared that you come and help with the school's annual water day, ensuring there is a warm pool of water for the students to warm up in during the student versus teacher water balloon fight. We're also, jeez, I'm so sorry. Chris is also very appreciated as a member of the North Pole Police Department staff. He is always helpful, kind, and is willing to lend a hand, whether it be helping with the police department remodel, at City Hall remodel, or how to make the parking lot safer. You go the extra mile every time, and we appreciate that. I know last year you were changing tires, this spring you were changing tires, and really you are the catch-all for not only the police, but our entire city. I saw you over at the school today, helping with Alice training, and all of the things that you do around our city and for our city are very, very much appreciated. And I want to say thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Chief Heineken. So we have a couple of awards this evening in employee recognition and time of service. This is the 5-year for Parker and the 10-year for Lieutenant Crane.
Okay, we'll go 5-year first. So yeah, at the fire department, you know, we could probably recognize our staff regularly for the city likes to at least make recognitions on these big marks. So the 5 and 10-year mark are being recognized today. So Parker Jarvis, if you would stand up here with me. You're being recognized for your 5 years of service with the North Pole Fire Department with a pin and I believe a certificate, right?
Sir.
So I'll let you read those. So Parker came to us obviously 5 years ago and has excelled in his time with us. Started off at the firefighter rank and is promoted up through into the rank of engineer. And most recently, Parker was our first candidate that we put through paramedic school. He dedicated a lot of his own time and energy and probably a lot of stress over about a 1.5 year period to go through paramedic school, as he did that virtually while working most of his shifts at the same time. So he's definitely a big attribute to our department and to our community. So I would like to congratulate you on 5 years and look forward to giving you a 10-year pin in another 5 years. And 10-year pin, Lieutenant Michael Crane and his family here, which, so obviously, again, Michael Crane has been with us for 10 years here at the fire department. He came to us at the rank of firefighter and has promoted all the way up to the rank of lieutenant over these 10 years. and is definitely part of that structure of our officers that is absolutely necessary to keep our department running day to day. Our lieutenants, are kind of that middle management position that is so needed to keep consistency and keep things going. Is that another call for us, or is that? No, it's been busy. It's been busy. So it has been an honor to work with Michael for the last 10 years. You know, that's majority of the time I've been with North Pole. I've been with North Pole over 19 now, so I've spent a majority of that time now working side by side with you. It's been an honor. It's been impressive, you know. We watch these younger guys come into the fire service and get married, raise families, and have an honorable career, and you were definitely an example of that. So congratulations on your 10-year pin. Thanks, Chief.
Quick, Braniff, that brings us on to proclamations. Before we get started here, would now be a good time to play the
Sure, yeah.
proclamation video?
If I go too loud with the sound, it does peer feedback. So I'm going to hit play. We're going to volume up just a, yeah.
And then if you ladies would like to grab a seat, there's a few empties. If you'd like to sit down, you certainly can. All right. Thank you for that. Thank goodness for YouTube, right? I would like to first read the proclamation that we wrote. It's super important that North Pole High School get recognition for building and bringing this to our students at North Pole, and how truly important it is that our young people can get this education at the high school level, and as soon as they get out of high school, have the credentials needed to walk out of school and get a job with a certification. And it's super huge. Whereas the city of North Pole values and celebrates educational excellence, workforce readiness, and the dedication of our educators in preparing our students for success in technical professional careers. And whereas the automotive technician program at North Pole High School has demonstrated an exceptional commitment to quality instruction, student achievement, and industry standards. And whereas on May 20th, 2025, the ASE Education Foundation officially recognized the North Pole High School program for meeting the strict industry requirements for accreditation in light maintenance and repair, a distinction reflecting the highest levels of professional training in the field. Whereas this achievement is the direct result of the expertise, leadership, and dedication of the instructors, Mr. Travis Cortez and Mr. Jerry Million, who have guided their students with skills, passion, and a commitment to excellence. Whereas the accreditation not only benefits the students of North Pole High School, but also strengthens the workforce and economy of North Pole and the general area by equipping graduates with valuable skills and recognized industry credentials. And whereas the city of North Pole commends the students, educators at North Pole High School involved in the program for upholding the highest standards of technical education and for bringing that honor to our community. Therefore, I, Larry Turch, Mayor of the City of North Pole, do hereby recognize and commend the instructors, students of the North Pole High School Automotive Technician Training Program for their Their achievement in earning ASE accreditation in maintenance and light repair and encouraged the community in joining in that accomplishment. I'd like to bring forth Mr. Jerry Million and Travis Cortez, the teachers who set this in place and who continue to make this such a wonderful program at North Pole High School. I have for each of you a framed copy of the proclamation and would like to present those to each of you, whether you hang it in the class, keep it in your office. I think it's super important and want to say thank you very much for all that you do for our youth, for our school, and for our community.
And real quick, before you get to mayor's comments, anybody that doesn't want to stay after their awards, we never expect people to stay for the business of the city, but thank you for coming and receiving.
Okay, and with that, give me one quick second here as I scroll through my notes. It has been a busy past couple of weeks. Went to 2 change of command ceremonies, one at Fort Wainwright, and we welcome Colonel Campbell and said farewell to Colonel Cole, even though he will be remaining in the area. And then at the 168th, the Air National Guard had the change of command. And witnessing the change of command from Colonel Griesbaum to Colonel Doyle, who grew up here in North Pole. And that is, I think, super important that our students know that if they join something, they truly can work from the bottom all the way to the top. Colonel Doyle is proof of that. He started at the very bottom and worked his way all the way to commander of the 168th, and that is a great accomplishment. So we thank him for that. I'd like to personally thank the Alaska International Senior Games for the invitation to speak at the grand opening ceremony. And I went and watched the seniors do the horseshoe toss over here at Terry Miller Memorial Park. Brock, I know I saw you there. Thank you for showing up and supporting that. It was wonderful, and I was happy to give out North Pole Challenge coins to those that placed first, second, and third in those events, and then hand out pins to those who placed past that. Our oldest participant that showed up was Miss Colleen Redmond at 93 years old. She walked on her own, threw her own shoe. It was amazing to watch and a true inspiration that it doesn't matter how old you feel. At 93 years young, she can still get out there and make it happen. So wonderful to watch. I attended the Golden Heart Waste Family Fun Day, truck show, and dessert truck rally, which was just last weekend, I believe, or the weekend before last. It was a huge success. All the local mayors were invited to judge the truck show, which I took great pride in. A lot of those guys I trucked with when I ran the Hall Road, and it was nice to catch up with them, be able to finally see their trucks all shined up, and to visit. I thank the fire department for being there. Our North Pole Fire Department was there with the aerial platform along with the other local fire departments, teaching the youngsters that were there about the fire industry and hop in a truck, check things out, look at the apparatus. It was great. So thank you for making that happen, Chief. I attended the Fairbanks Chamber Luncheon. Anton, thank you for being there as well. You're always such a strong support of the Fairbanks Chamber and show up to that. But the CEO of the Alaska Railroad, Bill O'Leary, was there, along with his press secretary. And it was interesting to hear the plans of what the Alaska Railroad has moving forward with their new Seward dock and the expansion of that. They did touch on the Northern Rail expansion. And after the meeting, they both came over and said hello, and we talked about the North Pole Railroad realignment to move that to the dike and try and tie that together with the Northern Rail expansion. I had a few other things that I went to, but that's pretty much the brass tacks of it. Are there any questions of the mayor moving forward? Okay, I'll stop yammering on and we will get to the city's business. That takes us on to citizens' comments.
And I didn't have anybody sign up for any of the public testimony tonight, but any person wishing to speak to any items on the agenda need to sign up on the list. That was online. I didn't have anybody sign up online. Let me clarify that. But any person wishing to speak to any item not on the agenda needs to sign up on the list located on the public testimony table. Respectful standards of decorum and courtesy should be observed by all. Remarks should be directed to the city council as a body rather than any particular council member or member of the staff, and comments are limited to 5 minutes. Did anybody have any comments at this period? And were you testifying to the solicitation ordinance or just public testimony?
Fine, that's 2025-09.
I'm sorry, we're going to have to wait until that comes up on the business under,
Just a general.
yeah, this is just if anybody has anything to speak to, but we'll bring you back up here once we get to unfinished business relatively soon. Thank you, Mr. Illingsworth.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, seeing none, that brings us to item 9, communications from department head. Clerk Braniff, do you want to,
Sure. First, I have very exciting news in the clerk's world, and I'm kind of giddy about it, but we had the I voted sticker contest that we sent out, and we had judges here, and our own Chief Smith's daughter won the middle school division. Let me pull it up here on my computer. She's a very skilled young artist. She's doing a great job representing the city of North Pole, following in her dad's footsteps. And Chief, we wanted to just say congratulations from Maggie and I to your daughter, because we're both very excited. I also wanted to thank the Director of City Services, Tim Glidden, for having the Public Works crew come help Maggie and I clear out the records room. We sent 50 boxes of records to the shredder that no longer needed to be retained. And we couldn't have done it without their assistance, muscle power, and youth. The space is empty now, but on the 28th of August, I'll be going to CSG in town and picking up 50+ boxes of Flint Hills litigation paperwork from CSG. We're required by our retention schedule to keep those documents for 6 years after settlement. So it was nice to create the space, but we're going to fill it right back up. And also on the 28th, the next meeting is on a Tuesday, so the agenda won't be going out until Friday. Friday the 29th, you'll get the next agenda. Maggie and I have been working hard to get the records room cleaned up, as that was a goal of ours in the budget meeting last year. We will have before and after pictures. Maggie had the foresight to take before pictures, so I'll share those with you in the future. And I wanted to thank all of our candidates out here in North Pole for staying in the race and on the ballot, because when they drop out and there's a name on the ballot, it just creates voter confusion. So thank you to all of you who are remaining on the ticket. And other than that, if you have any questions, I'm here.
hey, questions?
I put a bunch of.
Okay, seeing none. Thank you for that report. That brings us on to Chief Smith.
Real short report for you tonight. Our open officer position did close on the 15th, so we have a list of candidates that we're going to start combing through starting tomorrow. So I hopefully will have a decision on who we're moving forward with in the next few weeks, depending on background checks. Just for knowledge, I will not be here at the next meeting. I'll be on a trip out of town. So Lieutenant will be standing in for me at that meeting. And that's all I've got. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to take them.
Okay. Seeing none. Chief Heineken.
Oh, I do have a
Oh.
question. I'm sorry. A couple months ago, you said that you were going to do a survey in the Lake Drive area about roundabouts, see if they wanted roundabouts. How did that turn out?
They don't want roundabouts. But speed bumps so
Oh,
far.
I'm sorry. I got roundabouts on my mind tonight.
It's all good.
So yeah, the speed bumps, I'm sorry.
I have not been able to contact everybody that lives there because a lot of people are out at work during the day when I'm out there trying to contact, but Those that I have contacted, I would say without a hard count off the top of my head, a lot of people do support the idea of some type of a temporary speed bump. And they're probably not in the cul-de-sacs, but along the main road they're entering into the neighborhood. So that's kind of where I'm at this point.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, please, Chief.
Good evening, everybody. Just a couple of things for the fire department as well. It's going fast. Our apprenticeship is just like last year, just speeding along. So last week, they were able to do the first portion of the testing they need to do to get their certifications. So they did the firefighter portion of the testing process last week. It's a state certification process, and they all did tremendously well. We're awaiting results of their written tests for that. And then for the next 2 weeks, they move on to the hazmat portion that they'll cover, and then they will test at the end of that. And upon completion of both of those successfully, they will be certified firefighters in the state of Alaska. So we're really excited how well it's going this year. Just duplicate of last year. And if, for those of you that remember how well it went last year, I could not be more pleased that this year is following suit. Only other thing to report is last week we had a significant structure fire here in the city. The early hours of last Wednesday morning, our staff were actually alerted unusually. Instead of through the alert system, they were alerted at the door. Somebody came to the door at 2 a.m. reporting that there was a house on fire at the corner of Fennell and Crossway. Unfortunately, by the time our crews arrived, the fire had significantly advanced through the building, and they set up what we call a defensive attack at that time, which is being defensively from the outside of the building, putting the fire out. They did a tremendous job keeping that fire under control, keeping it from spreading through the yard into anything further than the building itself. And I appreciate the hard work that our staff did early in the morning that morning. That's all I have. I can answer any questions.
Oh, I got a question. For fireworks for this year in September, are we gonna have that, or how do people?
I believe so. At least one of the vendors had petitioned the mayor to open them up, and I believe Labor Day is when they'll be allowed to do that. So they'll have that opportunity, and it's always up to those vendors whether they actually open for sales or not.
That would depend on, I guess, weather and if we're not, where things will burn.
Yeah, usually by Labor Day, as you guys can tell, it's getting cooler out there. It's getting moist. We really have little concerns for the most part for any type of wildland issues by Labor Day. So I'm pretty comfortable saying that we would not shut them down for the same reasons we did in July. And like I said, they have the opportunity to open, and then it's up to the vendors to decide.
And I believe that date, do you recall? I think it's the
I think
23rd
it's
of August.
August 20th through September, the first weekend in September, I
Yeah.
believe. Yeah.
Oh, we opened it up and allowed them the same time that they normally would have had July 4th, but started that way earlier, knowing that most of that would happen over the Labor Day weekend, to allow them to get set up if they did choose to open. And then I wanted to say thank you to you and your fire department. I stopped by Friday for the apprenticeship training, and to watch them go through the building, roll out hose, be in the classroom, be in the fire department building in the annex. It was great to watch North Star go through that training as well as our own apprentices. And thank you to you and your crew for putting that on here in the city. That was huge.
Very welcome. Thank you for the recognition.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you. I think that clears up communications from department heads. Ongoing reports, we have none. That brings us on to item 11, unfinished business. That is item A. I'd like to introduce and possibly adopt ordinance 2025-09 and ordinance Title 9 of the North Pole Municipal Code to add a new chapter prohibiting solicitation from the occupants of vehicles.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you. So moved and seconded I'd like to lead off the staff report this evening, if that's quite all right. The idea of the ordinance did get a little skewed in the paper. They took the title of banning really far, and the intent isn't to ban anything other than the exchange of money from a moving car to a pedestrian that is on and in the road right of way. We do have a special event permit application here that we've produced, and we will be revamping that regardless of whether or not this passes this evening, to add some mapping of where you should stand, where you shouldn't stand. I know it has been a hot topic on Facebook. I have been part of that group and tagged in many of those posts. And I appreciate that on both sides, both the positive and the negative, those people who want it and don't want it. It's an interesting topic, but the idea is to have it be safe for our kids in a way that raises money in a safe conduct so that they aren't trying to take money from a moving car. And with that, I would like to make a call for public testimony if there is any.
Mr. Illingworth, you're up, and anybody else that would like to testify after him, just please sign up when you come to the table to speak.
Please state your name for the record and your general residence area.
Okay.
Thank you.
The name is Ronald Illingworth, and yeah, that kid that was back here, I know him. I live at 5730 Ileson Farm Road, so I'm not a resident of the city. And first off, I do fully support the efforts being made by the city of North Pole to improve
okay.
the safety of the public, particularly around streets and highways. Proposed ordinance 2025-09 seems to promote and maintain that public safety. However, after-school programs for our kids are heavily dependent upon out-of-school fundraising activities in order for them to occur. When my kids went to school, that guy that was back here back in 1984, 1985, and I think our last kid graduated in 1992. Yeah, that was not the case. Today, however, financial resources for our kids are not the same as they were back then. Kids did not have to buy their own hockey gear. They did not have to buy their own football gear. They did not even have to buy their own swimsuits. Today, my grandson, who is going to be a senior, well, he's a rising senior, whatever they call him, you know, first senior, okay, has to help raise funds in order for him to have a music program at North Pole High School, as do all of the kids in all of the other after-school programs that no longer receive adequate funding. Not your problem. You don't take care of the funding. I understand that. That's not the issue. What I do urge you is to consider where and how these kids can continue to raise funds for their programs with this proposed ordinance. Using the privately owned parking lot at Safeway, for example, may not continue if the owners of that place decide to restrict its use, which they could. So please look at these issues. Where can our kids do the fundraising that they've got to do? And it can't be in some place that is out of sight, because as an example, the farmer's market over there are hundreds of cars that go through that parking lot at Safeway, and maybe 25 that go past or stop at the farmer's market. I know because we're there. Thank you.
Thank you.
Would anybody else like to testify to ordinance 2025-09?
That moves us on to council discussion. Any discussion from the council? Yeah, please, Councilman Brandt.
I have all the same concerns that I had at the last meeting about this ordinance. First of all, I don't think it's necessary, like I stated before, because there are state laws on the books that exactly replicate what we're saying here. The exemptions, that's really problematic to me because the way most people are reading this is that it's illegal to solicit donations in the roundabouts unless they get a permit. And I know that's not the intention, but that's how it reads in here. 6 months from now, most of City Hall will probably have quit. There isn't going to be anybody in there that remembers what we said here tonight. Somebody's going to come in and ask for a permit, and it will probably be issued to them. And if they get hurt and they have a permit saying that it's okay, then the city's bankrupt, basically. We will get sued. So I know our director of city services said that there's already been organizations come in and fill out the permit, thinking that we're going to let them do it. And from what I understand from the last meeting, there is no way that we're going to issue a permit. So I don't see why we should have this exemption in there. It's confusing to the public. So I would move to strike the exemptions again.
Okay, do we have a second on your motion?
I'll second it for discussion.
Okay. Open for discussion. Would anybody else like to discuss the exemptions?
Yeah, I tend to agree with Mr. Brandt, most of his statements. Mayor Church, maybe you could chime in. Your thought on the permit would be people doing car washes, that would be your thought for them to come in and get the permit?
Even fundraising, they would still come in and get the permit, just like any other group that could be out there. It would be nice to know about any groups that would be on our city sidewalks at any time, whether it's protesting, whether it's solicitation of any kind. And as far as fundraising, it would be just like car washes where we would ask them to pull into a parking lot, come to a stop, have some sort of way for them to donate that isn't in a continual traffic pattern, which is what the roundabouts are. There's not a stop sign there. There's not a yield there. If there was a stoplight there, things would be different. But there is no stop whatsoever. It's a yield, and you stop for oncoming traffic if needed. And it's a real distraction to a lot of drivers and a real concern of mine. I personally, I pray every night when we have these events that no one gets hurt. They're going right up next to a car that is in a moving traffic pattern to collect $1, $2, $5, $20. And just this weekend, I was stopped in the roundabout so that a young lady could run out past the curb into the street to collect money from a single occupant driver through the window of that driver in the middle of a roundabout. I'm glad that everybody behind me and around me was paying attention, but had they not been, that could have been very, very bad.
Yeah, I don't disagree with any of that. I think what I was asking was your point for exemptions A would be for, not for solicitation, but for, people holding signs for a car wash or selling Krispy Kreme donuts or,
Correct. Yep.
okay.
No issue whatsoever with that. And that makes a lot of sense even for fundraising. We're in the parking lot somewhere. Come find us and donate there.
Yeah, so I do agree with Mr. Brandt that I think we should clear that up in the ordinance, because I just don't think it's very clear right now.
Okay.
His motion is to strike it. Mine would be to let's meet somewhere in the middle and at least clean it up.
Okay. Oh, two hands. Who would like to go first? Please, Councilman Klaus.
Thank you. So for discussion, it reminds me of what Mr. Brandt had said earlier on and during another meeting as well. There seems to be state law that covers that. I'm sure that if there isn't, I'm sure the police chief would know right off the top of his head. If there isn't, then I think it's worth having the ordinance. If there is state law, then I think it's a question of educating the public and educating the institutions that are doing the fundraising, which you should do anyway. So I'm wondering, Chief?
I've been looking for a new mic, just so everyone knows. I ordered one, but it came in non-working.
Those 4 extra steps. So the issue, as we discussed last week, is that the current statutes that exist, they're not designed to address this particular issue. Our ordinance is about the most narrow scope that you could possibly have. Alaska statutes are generally a little broader than that. As an example, the obstructing a roadway, as I discussed last time, that requires intent, criminal intent on the part of the person doing the obstructing for me to charge somebody with that. That means I have to be able to show that they stepped into the roadway with a mental state of, I'm going to stop this traffic and I'm going to obstruct it. I have to prove that in court. These kids aren't trying to obstruct traffic. That's not their intent at all. Ergo, the statute does not apply because it's addressing a mental state. So the statement that we already have Alaska state statutes that address this particular situation is false. There are at least 3 other communities in Alaska, Anchorage, Skagway, and Kodiak, that also have almost identical ordinances addressing this very issue because it's not specifically addressed in state law because it needs to be a case-by-case basis based on the needs of a particular community. So the idea that it is addressed in state law, it'd be great if it was, but it's just simply not.
Thank you.
Councilman Brandt.
Well, we've gotten off of the exemptions, but I'll address that since you just said that. The other law that I brought up last meeting was AAC 02.180, pedestrian soliciting rides or business. That says no person may solicit a ride in a manner which distracts a driver's attention, comma, nor may a pedestrian upon a highway solicit employment, business, or contributions from the occupant of a vehicle. Now, Mr. Stern said, well, that specifically relates to highways, but in the Alaska statutes, the definition of highway is highways includes a highway, whether included in primary or secondary systems.
Point of order, we have an amendment on the floor to strike the
I'm-
exemption, so that
That's
is
fine.
not appropriate discussion time for this amendment.
Okay. I brought that up before I made this
I know, but I'm
comment,
just,
but I was directly addressing.
but we have an
the issue
amendment on
that-
the floor that is,
Okay.
we're discussing.
All right, well, as far as the exemption goes, the way that it reads in here, we will allow it if they have a permit. That's the way I read it. That's the way most people have read it. I don't think if this is truly dangerous and we're trying to keep them from doing it, we should not encourage them to come down to City Hall and fill out a permit that we will never be giving them. And I don't think, personally, I don't think our kids should have to fill out a permit to do a fundraiser. That to me is going a step too far. That's just government interference. It doesn't need to happen. But that's my opinion.
Oh, please, Mr. Jacobson.
I'm going to be a voice of opposition to this amendment. I think the exemption gives us an opportunity to discuss with the proposer of fundraising what their intent is, what their safety protocols will be, and also then clarify that there is a danger when you are doing solicitations with moving traffic. I'm always supportive of student activities to raise funds. I think it just needs to be done in a safer location than with moving traffic. I've seen over the years many of our sports teams advocate for donations and advocate to go someplace for a car wash or some other event. And I think that's a great way to direct individuals who are driving to get to someplace where they can participate and contribute to that fundraiser, that it does not require them to be in a moving vehicle with a pedestrian approaching a vehicle. I do think that the statement of will never authorize a solicitation from a moving vehicle in the street is short-sighted, in that in the future we could have Christmas displays, ice sculptures in a neighborhood, or a development where you could be collecting fees from cars to enter that area to see the Christmas displays, or ice sculptures as other communities around the countries do. And so that would be one of those exemptions where we would allow solicitation from a vehicle on a street from a person entering either a driveway or an area from a city street.
Please,
And
Councilman Brandt.
again, I'm not the one that said we're never going to issue it. That's what was said during the last meeting. And I'm saying if we're never going to do it, then 10 years from now, when somebody is going through this ordinance, it says, oh, I can do it if I have a permit. And nobody will remember what we talked about tonight. So, and as far as like last meeting, they said, well, if we're going to close the streets and have a street fair and people are collecting money or something like that, well, the police aren't going to issue them a ticket for that. They can use discretion. So it's just, in my opinion, this is confusing to everybody involved. And like I said, our director of city services has said that they've already got people coming in for permits to do exactly what you say you don't want them doing, because it says right here that they just need a permit. So either clean it up or strike it. I'd rather strike it completely.
Councilman Claus.
Thank you. So the latest, I'm wondering I remember what our city attorney had said the last time about the review of this particular thing. I'm wondering if there's an update or if there's a way they can clarify it. So the points during our discussion are all addressed by the attorney.
Certainly, let's ask. River, are you on with us? And can you address that question from Councilman Claus?
I'm here. Can you rephrase the question just so I can be sure that I'm answering the right one?
So I'm wondering if there's a way to clarify that statement so that both sides in this discussion, there can be either a happy medium or something that's going to, that perhaps a revision might make everybody feel a little bit more comfortable about the ordinance and the way it's written.
With respect to the exemption?
Yes, please.
Yeah, I think that I could probably revise the language in a way that might clear up some of these concerns and find a happy medium, if that's something that the council would want me to do. I think that that's definitely doable.
Yes, Councilman Keller, please.
So I know we're talking about the exemption here. So with the one that's on the floor right now, I would not be for, but with kind of meeting in the middle, I do have a potential amendment here that I'm willing to discuss, but I want to make sure that this one's closed first.
Okay, thank you for
That
that.
would have actually also probably address what River's saying too.
Any other further discussion about this exemption? Councilman Brandt?
The exemption B says lawful protests and other public speech activities on public property that does not involve solicitation is exempt. And that makes no sense to me because of course it doesn't have anything to do with this ordinance. So why does it need to be exempted? This ordinance specifically involves solicitation. This exemption says if it doesn't involve solicitation, it's exempt. That makes no sense to me.
Could I? Please, yes, you may.
So,
Councilman Keller.
so thank you, Mayor. Underneath solicitation, there's a lot of different definitions in my head. Even from the young gentleman who does the smile, he could be soliciting smiles. So, I mean, that's to the full extent the letter of the law, which I don't think the officers would do. Otherwise, I'll have one frown at the officers. Anyways, so solicitation, however, in the same language here in number 15, line 15, it says solicitation of employment. And as elected officials, that is a form of employment. So if we wanted to actually say, hey, that elected official is actually out there still putting up their signs, running for candidacy for an office, that there is something there to that. However, lawful protests and other public speech activity, I think, is very appropriate to have in those areas. I'm hoping I make myself kind of explaining that well, because solicitation is very, very wide, and we're trying to attack a very, very narrow aspect to this.
Seeing no further discussion.
Wait a minute.
Oh,
So
please, Councilman Williams, chime in.
what we're saying is, we don't want anybody to get in the circle and solicit money, right? That's what we're saying.
And sidewalks. So not just roundabouts, but all sidewalks.
Now, what about when the kids go in the parking lot and they want to wash cars? Could they solicit over there in a parking lot?
And that is private property, so I would assume so.
And we would need a permit for that.
Actually, if I can chime in real quick, it's a
Yes, sir.
public sidewalk, so we can't necessarily not permit that. That is a public sidewalk, and they are certainly allowed to be on the sidewalk portion. They just can't be on the right of way, which is the issue. So they can be on the sidewalk, up and down, signs, meet us here, but they cannot enter past the right of way to solicit money from a moving car. So I just wanted to make that clarification, because that has been brought up. But as you read through this, we as a city can't shut our sidewalks down to the general public without it being real constitutional. But what we're trying to do and remove is the exchange of money from a moving car through the right of way and through that public roadway to that individual, whoever it is. So please, Councilman Claus.
Thank you. I'm not that up on Robert's rules these days, but I'm wondering if there's a way to table this and let our attorney refine this a little bit better so that all concerns here are better addressed for the next time it pops up.
If I could take that.
Yeah, please, Clerk Braniff, chime in.
So we would have to vote on this amendment, pass, fail, and then we could vote, you guys could make a motion to postpone until the next regular meeting, and then River could have an opportunity to amend the ordinance, and then we would come back and revisit it at the next meeting. No matter what, I'm going to have to take a roll call on the amendment that's on the floor. And then the next amendment would be a motion to postpone until the next meeting, so it can be clarified and readdressed at the next meeting.
Could be, yes.
Can the maker of the motion withdraw their amendment and the second?
We could also do it that way, if they wanted to.
That way it
withdraw.
preserves the right to make the amendment again without it being voted down, and then you can't go back and do it again. So if this gets withdrawn, it's still an active amendment for a future meeting.
I didn't consider that option, but that is also an option, Jeff, yes. If
I'll
the,
just withdraw my amendment.
and so I have, Mr. Brandt has withdrawn his first. Mr. Claus, do you concur?
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Move
So,
to post, oh, sorry.
go ahead.
Can I make a move to amend and try to hit middle ground?
Certainly.
Okay, I need a second.
Second.
Okay, so line 49, I would have amendment organized fundraising advertising or fundraising advertisement authorized by the city with the intent of fund collection or transaction to be received elsewhere and not on public roadways, sidewalks, medians, and other traffic infrastructure.
Are you going to write that? Do you have a
I
slip
have
to
it.
write it?
Would you
I can-
repeat that again, please,
Yeah.
for the attorney? I think we're going to have a hiccup with the sidewalk portion of that because that is a, but
So the only reason why I put sidewalk is because it's in line 16 of the actual ordinance. So I kind of copied and pasted that so that there's no transaction of funds from a public sidewalk, public roadway, or anything like that.
understood. Could you repeat that so that the attorney has a chance to scratch that down as well?
Correct. So line 49A, organized fundraising advertisements authorized by the city of North Pole pursuant to a written permit under NPMC 12.04.010 and NPMC 4.10.020 with the intent of fund collection or transactions to be received elsewhere and not on public roadways, sidewalks, medians, or other traffic infrastructure. And I can write that in non-doctor handwriting if you want.
It's fine, as long as you can read your own handwriting and the
Right now I
pharmacist
can.
can. We're all in good shape. River, would you like to chime in on that before we move forward with any discussion as to any implications that that may instill?
Sure. Yeah, let me just read it back to myself 1 second. I want to make sure that I'm being thorough here.
Make a quick comment.
Certainly, Councilman
I'm
Brandt.
not sure if it matters at all, but you know, the roundabouts and the sidewalks around the roundabouts are state property, not city property. They are within the city limits, but they are, you know, owned and maintained by the state. We have a contract to clean the snow off the sidewalks, but other than that, we don't maintain or own those. So I don't know if that matters.
Okay, thank you for that clarification.
We do enforce traffic on those state roads, and this is.
Yeah, that's why I
again,
said, I don't know if it
regulating
matters or
And
not
for
as
the
far as
city,
this
we-
ordinance goes, but I just wanted to bring that up in case it does.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I put public roadways. I almost did verbatim with what's on line 16, just to be all inclusive and almost redundant and making sure with the intent of you can advertise that you're doing a fundraiser somewhere else, but there is no money transaction on the city roads or on the sidewalks. So that gives them leeway to nearby businesses, parking lots, etc. I just don't want to take away the advertisement ability or the picketing or the running for candidacy. I want to leave that open.
I think that language is fine. I would probably rearrange it a little bit to be advertisements for organized fundraising authorized by the city pursuant to a permit with the intent of collecting funds or transacting business elsewhere. That's how I would probably but I think that's fine. You know, I would say likely you may not even need the language about permit here. I mean, the purpose of the exemption as written is just to be as sort of cautious of First Amendment restrictions as possible and make clear what the statute or what the ordinance, what the code is not regulating. But I think, yeah, I think if you were to change that exemption to read advertisements for organized fundraising with the intent of collecting funds or transacting business elsewhere, that would be just fine.
Clerk Braniff, did you?
I have Mr. Keller's motion. Do I have a second for this?
I will second that with the language from our attorney, yes.
Is there any discussion on that further?
So what we're saying is you can't collect no money in the circle, but we can solicit a sign being in the circle, right? Saying you can collect the money elsewhere. Yes or no?
Yes and no. You can't be in the circle no matter what. But from the outside sidewalk of the circle, you certainly can hold a sign as long as it's not within the road right of way that will direct traffic or inspire traffic to pull over to your location and donate or buy your product, whether it's donuts or pancakes or car wash or you're running for political office, can certainly be done. And the reason for the permit is simply as a teaching tool, also gives the fire department and police department some sort of authority as to who is running whatever sort of solicitation fundraising event that happens out there, so that if there is an issue with road kids or traffic slowing down or whatever the case may be, they have a point of contact for that organization that has been approved on the permit.
I would say, let's see what the attorney's gonna come up with to make it keep it simple for everybody to understand. Otherwise, we could be here 2 or 3 months trying to figure this out ourselves. But we need something simple. Cause I don't want to see the kids not being able to go out and solicit money. Okay, that would be bad.
Go ahead, Santa. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Thanks. I had another quick question for the attorney, because I haven't seen the release form or the permit form that the city's going to do it. I didn't look at it recently. There, I'm looking at it right now. Thank you. I don't see, looking at it right now, that there's an indemnification for the city by whoever is getting the permit. So if something untoward happened to whoever was soliciting, whether it was just a sign or whether they're actually receiving some money in one way or another, I'm not sure that that it's clear that they're indemnifying the city, so that if there were to be a lawsuit, the city is protected. Thank you.
I certainly will take that. So if you go to that document to page 4, there is a special event waiver of liability and notification of cost for emergency response. It clearly states in red, a condition of the city issuing an event permit at its sole discretion is a requirement to provide documentation of the organization party sponsoring the event, and the event should have insurance within the city of North Pole as an additional insured. This to me is a total waiver of liability from the city standpoint that says you should have insurance, similar to the way that a car should have insurance or an ATV should have insurance, but we know that that isn't the case either. Please, Councilman Brandt.
I'd like to say nothing you just read is on the permit application that I picked up last week.
Okay.
So if the permit's changed, they don't have it at City Hall yet.
So the permit hasn't changed, and this is what we have been providing people. So page 4 of your permit looks similar to that there. That's the exact same thing. Yes, sir. I just have mine printed in color. Right here in the top. I agree. I don't know where you got this or who you got
I
that
got
from,
it
but
from
that is,
City Hall last Wednesday.
that's the least current copy of the draft.
Just FYI, I haven't seen a copy of the updated one for disbursement either.
So
This is a
isn't-
copy that is being given to the people coming in, thinking that they're going to get this exemption.
I just want to, I just want to be clear that this amendment is advertisement for organized fundraising with intent of collecting funds by transacting business elsewhere. That's the amendment as, okay.
Any further discussion on the amendment? Oh, please. Chief Smith, sorry, I didn't see you over there.
So I was recently sent a permit application on August 13th, and the copy that was sent to me filled out by the person of the public, it has that special event waiver of liability and notification of cost of emergency response on the final page included with this packet. So I don't know what happened, if one got stuck in the printer or what, but it's here on this most recent one that I was sent.
Okay. Thank you, Chief. So I don't know, we'll get that sorted as far as what copy gets distributed to our folks. That's an in-house issue that we will certainly take care of. And I'm sorry that you didn't get the most current updated version of that, Councilman Brandt. We certainly will make sure that there are none of those that make their way outside for any outside entity to use, and that it is the most current updated. In fact, we need to update this also with a map that clearly states and shows with red and green coloring where we can have these students fundraising and where they can't, so that it's evidently clear to each and every one of them moving forward the right and wrong place to stand and be. Please go ahead, Councilman Claus.
Thank you. Hopefully my last comment, I'd still like to see all this run by the city attorney first before we actually have a final vote on it.
So the city attorney is online and is actually doing the exact amendment that was just read by Clerk Braniff in real time.
Well, I'm thinking just things like the liability, that's for the emergency response. If somebody's really badly injured and it affects them the rest of their life, that's big bucks. That's not covered in the language, in my opinion, that's in there right now. You're just talking about the emergency response, not any losses incurred as a result of the aftermath after the emergency.
Sorry, I just read a snippet of the permit, and we certainly, when we upgrade this, we'll bring it to staff meeting just like we always do to allow all of the department heads to chime in with their decisions and changes of that permit. And then from that working group document, we'll send that to the attorney like we have since I've been here. I've really tried to make it a point that our own staff read through any decision that the city makes, including ordinances and everything else, so that we can doctor and take care of our own stuff before we pay an attorney $300 or $200 or $500, whatever it may be, to review that document and get it back to us.
Thank
So,
you.
yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you. Please, Councilman.
Could I have the clerk restate the amendment? Because I have a question regarding permit.
It was advertisements for organized fundraising with the intent of collecting funds by transacting business elsewhere.
Okay, so that is in addition, is that substituting letter A under exemptions? Is that the intent of the maker? It's
That is correct.
River, do you want to chime in on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that what I originally said was advertisement of organized fundraising for the purpose or with the intent of collecting funds or transacting business elsewhere. It's minor changes, but as a point of clarification, also, if I have no issue with leaving the written permit language that was incorporated in the original proposed amendment in there. That can also remain in there. I was just looking for a slightly trimmed down statement of the provision.
Or should we also include issued under the North Pole Municipal Code as stated in line 50 to your amendment?
If you're going to include the permit language, I would specify I would keep in that language about the specific code provisions that the permit is issued under.
Okay, Clerk Braniff, will you read that again so that we are all clear as to item A, please?
Okay. Organized, say advertisements of organized fundraising with the intent of collecting funds or transacting business elsewhere. And then authorized by the city of North Pole pursuant to a written permit issued under NPMC 12.04.010 and NPMC 4.10.020.
Please, Councilman Jacobson.
I think we're creating a problem here by including a written permit for having fundraiser advertisement, because if they have to have a written permit to advertise for a fundraiser, that our permit requires now that they have to have proof of insurance to cover indemnifying the city. And I think we were going way off the field on that. I like the cleaner, simple language of saying, hey, it's okay to advertise in these areas, and as long as you collect money in a safer location elsewhere. But when we tie that to a permit, I get very nervous because now we're saying that anybody who comes in is going to have proof of insurance for advertising for a fundraiser.
I agree with that, by and large.
Just for clarification, Mr. Mayor, we're not voting on the permit, so none of that language, we're voting on an ordinance. So the permit can say whatever, but we're just voting on this ordinance, not a permit.
We're restating A to as an exemption, an authorized exemption is advertising for fundraiser for collection of funds elsewhere. That's the amendment, and we're trying to divorce it from having a written permit to be able to advertise for kids.
Sorta, yeah, yes, but there's confusion with the way it's written originally.
That's why
Tied
we're-
into
that's
the
what we're taking
solicitation.
away A.
Correct.
And,
Correct.
And
Yeah.
clarifying it so people know that they can do this. And they're not
Correct.
confused about they have to come in and get a permit that will allow them to go into streets to collect money. We're saying you can advertise for this, but you have to collect money elsewhere. It's very clear now. I think it solves a lot of problems.
So can I amend my amendment?
How about if you do the same and withdraw with the concerns of your second? I do just want to say that since the public hasn't seen the permit, it is getting a little confusing when we're reading permit language while discussing the ordinance. So if we could just stay on the ordinance, the permit has already been discussed in a staff meeting as needing to be amended after whatever happens with this ordinance. The permit isn't final yet, but yeah.
So I'll go ahead and withdraw my amendment.
Mayor Church, do you concur? With the concurrence of the second?
With the intent of striking
Bob.
some language. Striking language.
I'll play ball. I'll unsecond my second of your
Slow
amendment.
pitch ball or fast
Man,
pitch?
this feels like church softball to me. I love it.
All right.
Please state your next
right.
amendment, sir.
Move to strike 49 and 50 to read advertisement of organized fundraising with the intent of fund collection or transaction of business elsewhere. Debating whether or not to put and not on public roadways, sidewalks, medians, but that is within the ordinance already. So we'll X that. So advertisement of organized fundraising with the intent of fund collection or transaction of business elsewhere. Period. End quote.
Second.
Okay. So the discussion is opened again.
And that was advertisement of organized fundraising with the intent of fund collection or transaction of business elsewhere.
Advertisement of organized fundraising with the intent of fundraising or fund collection with the intent of fund collection or transaction of business elsewhere.
And I heard Mr. Jacobson seconded that, correct? Yes.
Correct. We call upon our legal team again. River,
Yeah,
will
I
you?
think that simplified statement makes good sense. I'm comfortable with it. If there is a desire to be super cautious and include that language about not on public roadways, I'm also comfortable with that. But I think that as written, there's a legal principle that, you read a modifying term like elsewhere to include both of the things that precede it. So I think that elsewhere sort of sufficiently modifies collection of funds and transaction of business to make clear that the authorized activity would not be allowed within public roadways. So I think it's good. I'm comfortable with it.
Okay, any discussion? All right, I will take the mic on this. My concern is not having the permit in there. Not that the permit is a huge document that is difficult to fill out, but I look at the permit as a teaching resource. It also gives us a PIC, a person in charge of who is running the event. And without the permit, we are back to square one of anyone at all coming into our city, doing that without any source of knowledge, which may require additional resources from our police and fire to go and educate whatever that group is that's out there doing it to our ordinance without a permit as an education piece. Please.
I'm uncomfortable with a blanket permit that covers all sorts of things. There needs to be then a delineation of different kinds of permits for different events so that we're not triggering all of these things, because having a car wash in a private parking lot, there is no indemnification requirements from the city or emergency response. That's all between the property owner and that organization. So if the intent is to work on a permit outside of council purview, I'm very uncomfortable with that, because we don't know what stipulations are being put out there on the public and on our fundraising activities in our city. I understand your concern about it being an educational tool, and if that's the intent, then I would suggest that perhaps we table this to another meeting so that we can see all the variations of the permits, so that we know what we are going to be imposing upon the public. Otherwise, you can still have a permit, but it doesn't have to necessarily trigger insurance requirements. And that's where I get very nervous when I read that language, that you can't use discretion and say, this group doesn't have to have insurance, but this group does. That's where you get lawsuits because you're treating the public differently.
I agree with that general caution about differential treatment. That I think that Councilman Jacobson is absolutely on the right track with that.
Okay, Councilman Brandt.
I would also like to say that the Supreme Court has ruled that soliciting donations for charitable purposes is protected under the First Amendment. So we're really getting into some gray areas here that I don't think we need to in our little city. I really don't. Let our kids go do their fundraiser without having to go through all this government hassle and get insurance and fill out permits and all this. If they're doing it unsafely, our police can go out there and ask them to do it more safe. This has nothing to do with your amendment. I'm sorry. Get back to your amendment.
Oh, it's okay, if I may.
Please.
I think it's just not our officers' job and responsibility to let people know, like, hey, stay on the sidewalk. It's also the general public. If you see something, say something, like stay out of the road. So this is like a call to action for the whole community of we need to do things right. And yes, this is just not my amendment. Besides advertising for fundraising, because our community does need help fundraising. So yes.
Can I make a suggestion that we table this whole thing for tonight and have a workshop on it?
Actually, you can't make that suggestion.
can make
I
that
appreciate
suggestion,
that.
but
We have an amendment on the table that we need to deal with. Is there any further discussion about the amendment? Okay. Clerk
Are-
Braniff, please.
Are we-
Yes.
Are we doing another withdrawal and then postponing? No. Okay. So on the amendment to the advertisement of organized fundraising with the intent of fund collecting or transaction of business elsewhere, Mr. Brandt,
no.
Mr. Keller,
Yes.
Mr. Schuster,
Yes.
Mr. Claus,
No,
Mr. Williams,
No.
Mr. Jacobson,
Yes.
Mr. Mayor Church.
In the middle of the room, and I'm going to say no. And with that,
That failed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4-3.
okay.
Move to postpone this ordinance to the meeting of September 2nd with a work session at 6 o'clock.
Would
prior-
it be, just because Director Glidden isn't going to be back until September 2nd, would it be acceptable to postpone it to the September 16th meeting? So he has, so your motion would be to postpone until the September 16th meeting. Do I have a second?
good, second.
Thank you, Mr. Claus.
So moved in second and discussion.
I think that we need more than half an hour to discuss this, if this is any indication of what we're going to go through at the workshop. So
I would schedule the work session at 5:30 to start an hour before the committee of a whole meeting, if that is acceptable.
I would like to chime in. I'm against a work session. I think for our city government, we should be open and upfront and on the record about these things. In the addition that it costs the city $750 to have a work session, to pay you to show up and provide some sort of sustenance because we are going to show up at 5 o'clock. I would rather have it discussed on the record rather than do a workshop. I think it would be imperative, though, to send the documentation out a week or more prior to the meeting so that we have a chance to review the amendments that were discussed and the changes that were discussed to this ordinance.
my suggestion for a workshop would be to not to keep any of this from the public, obviously, but to go through this in a less formal capacity and try to air out all of our differences and opinions, and then bring it forth, just like we do any other ordinance. We can still have discussion on what we found at the workshop, and the workshops are open to public. They're welcome to attend.
Please.
I concur with Mr. Brandt, and I think also it'd be helpful at that work session that we have copies of the permits and the language that that the administration is going to be enforcing, so that we can see what impact it has on the public.
We still,
Yeah.
are we
please.
still gonna get information from the attorney? His wording?
I don't think the attorney isn't wording the permit, right? Or he's working with the director?
Yes, we were going to bring the special event and parade permit to our staff meeting to work over, discuss changes, provide that then to the attorney to work over and make sure that everything that we've said in that permit then is legit. So I guess that's our next task, is to revamp the special event and parade permit.
So for right now, do you want me to take a roll call on the postponement or?
Please, I don't think there's any further discussion. Seeing none, yes, please. Thank you, clerk.
Oh, did I hear? Okay, on the postponement of ordinance 2025-09 to the September 16th meeting, Mr. Claus,
Yes.
Mr. Brandt,
Yes.
Mr. Schuster,
No.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Keller,
No.
Mr. Jacobson,
Yes.
and Mayor Church.
No.
Okay, that motion passed 4 to 3, excuse me, 4 yeses, 3 nos.
Okay. Thank you for that, council. That brings us on to item 12C,
You do call it computer over there.
request to council for city property donation. Can I get a motion to bring that to the floor, please?
Move to approve the equipment disposition of 2 snow machines and a trailer.
I'll second that one.
Okay, moved and seconded. If we can get a staff report, chief?
Yeah, as was shared at the meeting of a whole, we have 2 snowmobiles, and a trailer. The snowmobiles were purchased with DHS funding, a number of years back and are no longer being utilized. And so looking to have them donated to WSR for their search and rescue efforts. As was also discussed in the meeting of the whole, providing the flatbed trailer to, I believe it was utilities, for the use of their riding lawnmower, so they get some use out of that. So basically, that's the recommendation I'm bringing to council.
Okay, thank you for that. Do we have any public testimony on this?
I've had nobody sign up online. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak to this?
Okay, that brings us on to council discussion. Would anybody like to take lead on this?
I would.
Please, Councilman Gill.
Chief, how tall is the bed of the trailer? Do you recall? How far off the ground is it?
1.5 feet. They could easily load a lawnmower onto it.
Okay.
It builds.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. My concern is I've loaded lawnmowers before, and I can't imagine putting it on a regular height snow machine trailer because that angle of attack would be horrendous. So thank you for clarifying. Yeah.
Chief, if I may, was that trailer purchased with the same funds as these 2 snow machines? And with respect to the usage of that, with DHS signing off on they fulfilled their usability, was the trailer part of that package?
Oh, it's not on the DHS inventory. So that was purchased by the department for some other purpose
Okay.
or separately.
And during the ownership of that trailer, have we maintained that with fresh wheel bearings, fresh tires, maintained the deck of that as we have every other city piece of equipment?
I don't think we've ever repacked the wheel bearings, but the thing probably has only a couple 100 miles on it. It's never moved. So the deck's in good shape. The tires maybe are old, but still a good deal.
Okay. Thank you for that. Have you reached out to I'm sorry, I didn't mean to, anybody else like to comment? I have one more question. Have you reached out to the organization that may be receiving this and their need for snow machines and trailers and what they do with that?
As far as what they use it for?
Correct.
Well, it's wilderness search and rescue, so all of their efforts are heavily rural. And so every time they have to use a snow machine or a four-wheeler to go out and do search and rescue. So yes, Chris Illingworth reached out to them prior to any of this to gauge interest and see if it's something they'd be interested in, and they were.
Any other discussion on this?
I would just say that we own a trailer, the city owns a trailer. We have a need for a trailer in another department. There's no reason to give it away because as taxpayers are going to have to buy another trailer if we don't. So it makes sense to me.
Real quick. Mayor,
Please.
with us kind of unfolding this and realizing that the trailer wasn't purchased with DHS funds, like that kind of unloosen, never mind. Kind of opens up the broad way of we don't have to give it to another organization. We can keep it within the city and not have anything go through DHS approval for keeping the trailer within the city. Is that correct?
Yeah, once I have disbursement approval on any item, we can do whatever we want to with it as far as it relates to DHS. They've taken their hands off of it. They've removed it from their inventory. And we get to decide.
So that was one of my worries, was the trailer being lumped up with the snow machines, but with that apparent that it was separate transaction, separate funds, keeping with it the city is probably a good idea.
Just a note, because you'll probably see another one out there. We have two of those flatbed trailers. The other one is being reserved for our new side-by-side that's coming in for the Chino Lakes Park. So if you see one still sitting out there, that's what it's for.
Sidebar. Thanks, Chief.
Okay, any further discussion? Madam Clerk, please call the roll on the approval as requested.
So is it the approval of the two snow machines less the trailer? Am I understanding that right? Or is it the whole package?
Nobody has made an amendment to remove the trailer from the
Understood.
package, so.
I thought the Chief Smith in his staff report just now said that it was the two snow machines being donated to the WSAR and that the trailer would be donated to or shifted over to the utility department. That's what he said his staff
I'm
recommendation
essentially
was.
verbally amending my memo. I don't know if that requires a formal amendment on your part, since that memo is different.
We should make that formal amendment.
Mr. Brandt, Mr. Mayor, if
Please.
I may
Yep.
allow Mr. Brandt to make that amendment because this was under his watchful eye.
He certainly has championed that. Yep.
I would like to amend Chief Smith's memo to read donating two surplus snowmobiles to Fairbanks Winter Search and Rescue and strike flatbed trailer.
Second.
Okay. Any further discussion on this? Clerk Braniff, please
Let-
call the roll.
On the donation of two snow machines, Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Jacobson,
Yes.
Mr. Schuster, Mr. Claus, Mr. Keller,
Yes.
Mr. Brandt, and Mayor Church.
Yes.
And I guess on the memo as amended, Mr. Jacobson,
Yes.
Mr. Keller,
Yes.
Mr. Claus,
Yes.
Mr. Williams,
Yes.
Mr. Schuster,
Yes.
Mr. Brandt,
Yes.
Mayor Church.
Yes. Okay, that takes us down to council comments.
And this evening, we start with Mr. Keller.
All right. It's another beautiful day in the neighborhood. We live in an interesting time with a lot of things happening very, very fast, and it's hard to pull back on the reins of time. But what we've done tonight is had good discourse, definitely disagreed on some things, but agreed on other things. My hope is that we continue this conversation to better the community. And that's really what it is all about, is trying to better the community, looking out for the future, and the safety, and also the well-being here on out. That's really what it's all about. I'm excited for fall. I'm excited to actually sleep at night without the sun peering through my window. I'm excited to allow myself to change with the change of the seasons as well, become better myself. So I look forward to seeing everybody out and about in the cooler weather.
Thank you, Mr. Keller. Mr. Schuster?
Yeah. Like Mr. Keller said, I thought we had a lot of good, healthy discussion tonight, and I support the spirit of this ordinance and safety of the kids. One thing I just want to bring up is, several council members have discussed how they lose sleep at night and over this issue, and I worry about it as well. So instead, we made a decision tonight to postpone that a month while school is starting. Kids will be out the next 4 weeks. So I think we've, kind of taken a step backwards in that aspect, of postponing this for a month instead of, making a decision. But I do want to make the right decision, but I just think it was kind of, we didn't think about that aspect of school starting and kids will be out there every weekend, collecting money. So I will be happy to donate my work session money to North Pole Sports and Clubs. I hate the idea of the city spending money on a work session, but I will donate mine to a good cause anyway. That's all. I hope everyone has a safe, enjoyable Labor Day.
Thank you, Mr. Schuster. Mr. Brandt?
Last Mr. Schuster's comments about postponing this, I think all of this could go away with just a letter to the principals, and I suggest that the mayor does that. In the meantime, while we're waiting to pass this ordinance, is just write a letter to the principals to pass on to the coaches and booster clubs that the city does not want them soliciting donations in the roundabouts. It's not safe, and that will take care of the problem. There is, regardless of what Chief Smith says, there is a law on the books, and I'll gladly sit down and go over it with you. Everything that okay, never mind. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Brandt. Mr. Jacobson?
I think we can be very proud of our North Pole High School students for all of the activities that they are involved in, and especially those who are recognized for the automotive program that was first began in our community in our high school by Jerry Million and certified for 10 years. And now there's a second recertification that has been approved for our auto mechanics program that will give these young men and women certification to do that kind of work when they graduate from high school. Our high school sports are doing a phenomenal job. We've had this past year some really incredible achievements that I think as a council we haven't really cheerleaded very much, which was we had for the first time a flag football team, which is made up of young women at the high school playing flag football who took state. That's an amazing, and yet we have not publicly recognized them with a proclamation or anything. They are now starting their second season, winning games again. So 3 games so far. So I think it's incumbent upon us to step up and acknowledge their accomplishments. It's not always that our sports teams go to state. Our junior ROTC not only took state in marksmanship, but also took national. That is an amazing accomplishment. And our varsity football team took second in state. And so far, they're doing really well this season. So anytime that we can do a shout out and recognize these young men and women sooner than later, I think it's important to know that they not only are doing the heavy lifting by going to practice and playing the games, and their families are supporting them, but they're also having to find ways to fund their sports program or their arts program or their music program. And I hope tonight's discussion on this ordinance doesn't take away from the fact our support of our youth and their activities. We're trying to find a way to make it clearer and I think safer for these activities. I am very nervous about the permit language that is going to be flying under the radar without council purview, and that's going to be done. I'm going to be very blunt, haphazardly. Even if it does have an attorney review, I think the fact that you're requiring a permit on every activity in the city is going to an extreme. I would hope that we'd be a kinder, gentler community than that. It's good to have people come in and talk about that, but if we're going to be having them fill out permits that require proof of insurance for some of these activities, that's going too far. I didn't think I'd be agreeing so much with Mr. Brandt, but we have come to the same conclusions on some of these issues. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Williams, or Mr. Jacobson. Mr. Williams?
I think our discussion today was very helpful in making us all think of looking ahead. And my main issue is I don't want to cut the kids out of collecting money. Want to make sure that they're safe and that the city doesn't get tagged for maybe something that we overlooked. So we have to watch that and really be careful. Because ain't nobody going to take care of our kids the way we will. And you know the government ain't doing it. All right, that's all I got to say.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Mr. Claus?
Thank you. Well, school's open tomorrow. And of course, we were addressing some of the safety issues earlier here. I know that a lot of people actually watch us online, our meetings here, including the news miner. So I'm hopeful that some of the broadcast media and print media might cover our concerns, our willingness and support for children doing the fundraising, their parents, et cetera, and the schools, and help sort of notify the entities involved who are doing the fundraising that safety is a huge issue. So with our public exposure, also the social media that people participate in, these are all sort of creative ways to get the word out that we want people to be safe out there. Whether, even though the ordinance hasn't passed right now, they should be taking all these measures to protect our children. Children can't do it themselves. And I'm delighted to see sort of everybody. I think that this community is quite well represented on this council. We have a wide variety of views on a wide variety of subjects. And this is one that has an impact, especially on children. So I've been pretty interested in it. And I'm happy to see that we're finding some common ground and that our attorney is going to kind of keep a hand in it and put out something that's going to not be intimidating, but be useful for our community, especially our children. And thank you. Happy Labor Day.
Thank you, Mr. Claus. Mayor Church?
Okay, I'd like to lead off with some things on your calendar, if you wouldn't mind getting those out. North Pole High School open house is August 26th from 5:30 to 7 p.m. Walk through, meet the teachers, meet the kids, check out the school. The following day, there is a Department of the Air Force micro-nuclear reactor pilot town hall meeting at the 8-Star Event Center. That's August 27th from 5 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. North Pole High School homecoming game is coming up September 12th at 7 p.m. for the varsity and at 4 p.m. for the JV game. Like Councilman Claus says, first day of school tomorrow. Super important. Pay attention to the buses that are going to be stopping in all the places that you're not expecting them to, picking up kids. It is starting to get dark out there. Pay attention. The kids are going to be out at 6, 7 o'clock in the morning where we're not used to seeing them. And with it being darker and not everybody prepared for that, let's keep an extra eye out. I would like to say thank you to Joni Skilbred and the North Pole Chamber of Commerce this weekend for putting on the historical dinner over at Hotel North Pole. It's always great when we get a chance to relive our history and to be knowledgeable of our history and how we ended up where we are here today and why. Zena Robinson, the new principal of North Pole High School, stopped by last week to introduce herself. I think that she is certainly going to take North Pole High into some great things. She certainly has a spirit of a 20-year-old kid. I went out and celebrated the teachers coming back in front of the Herring Auditorium last week. We held signs, we had music, we had breakfast there for them. And she came in dancing her way into the school with a positive power that you couldn't deny. And I hope that she carries that onto our kids and onto that school and really keeps the positivity going, because positivity is really going to move us forward. I'd like to again say congratulations to Chris Illingworth, Lieutenant Michael Crane, and Engineer Parker Jarvis this evening for their awards. And thank you, Jerry Million, for being here, and Mr. Cortez for joining us. With that, that finishes my blurb, and I would like to move to adjournment.
I'll second.
And we are adjourned at 8:46. River, once again, I just wanted to thank you for hanging in there with us.
It's my pleasure. Happy to do it.
Have a good evening.
Thanks. You too.